This charming lady sitting to my right just celebrated her 90th birthday this spring, and she's very active. This is Marie Earle, and she has a new movie coming out, folks. She's still working, called Fatso, with Anne Bancroft and our good friend Dom DeLuise. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, is that a fun picture?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You know, he was telling you about your performance at the Academy Awards, and I loved that too. But you did a performance later that I was so thrilled over because there was so much discussion after that. Were you going to quit or weren't you going to quit? And the papers, people would send me clippings from the East and all, and I thought, you were out, weren't you, with the band back or something?
Yeah, for a while.
And you came back, and I thought, gee, I wonder how he's going to handle it. Oh, you came across so wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, I was so proud.
That's my girl. That's nice. How have you been? You're
I've
working?
just been real good. Honestly, I couldn't complain at all. You know, Jenny said to me today, she said, are you keeping cool? And I said, yes. And she said, how did you keep cool before they had, you know, cool
air conditioning and all that?
Air conditioning.
Yeah, we're so spoiled in this modern age.
Yeah, and I said, we sat in the shade.
And you had fans.
What? Yeah, oh, we had palm leaf fans. They put them all over the church, you know. Everybody sat through the sermon, frantically fanning. You couldn't hardly hear the preacher for the wash of the palm leaf. What did you do on the farm to keep cool?
Well, I lived in a small town, but in those...
Oh, did you?
We had electricity, but it was just, you know, a regular fan. We had no air conditioning, except the local theater was the only place in town. I do remember.
Everybody used to go to there.
Yeah, and they had big icicles drawn outside, you know, like banks, and it says air conditioned. And every Saturday we'd go right to the theater. It was the only place in town that was air conditioned. But when you were a kid, there was no air conditioning at all, right?
Well, I brought you something because she also wondered how we toasted and how we did things.
And you know, I saw this sitting here a while ago, and I said, what the heck is this thing? And now, obviously, this is something that you brought.
Yeah, I found that. I think I must have found it at a second-hand store. I've had it since I lived out here.
Now, this is the way they used to toast?
Yeah, that's the way.
What would they do?
Well, you see, you put 4 pieces of bread on this little thing here.
Yeah.
And if you have a burner, you set it over the burner. If you don't have a burner, if you have a coal stove, you just set it on the heat. And it toasts awful quick. It burned awful quick. I have used it a few times.
But you have to turn the slices.
No, you turn... Nah, you lift them off with your hand.
But it does one side, and then you turn the bread around and toast the other.
This had 4 pieces of bread. And I was talking to her, and I said, oh, I think I've got something that just shows what we used to do.
That's an antique now. You know, I remember going to my grandmother's house on my father's side, and she had the old stove with the lifters and burned wood and corn cobs. That was the fuel. And she would cook a dinner on that, I mean, bake, and you say, no thermostats, you know, they just learned. And it was wonderful, you know, cooking on things like that. Didn't seem to bother them at all. And there was a pump in the kitchen. They got the water from the well. How old were you when you first got electricity?
I think I must have been about 12 years old or something like that, because when we first moved in our home that we built, they didn't have it, but they got the house ready. Same, we didn't have a bathroom, but it was piped there. So when we got the water down there, that we couldn't have a bathroom, and they used to do that.
Was that a bigger change, getting an indoor bathroom?
Oh.
And getting electricity?
Oh, yes, it was lots nicer than going to the privy.
The privy, yeah.
But, you know,
That's the same as an outhouse, isn't it, a privy?
Yeah. And then, you know, they got so, I don't know why, that was a man's name. I bet Fred knows. Why did they call him Chick Sales?
Chick Sales?
Sales was a comedian.
Well, he was a comedian.
And a writer, yeah.
And I don't know why they got, but they call it Chick Sale.
Maybe he made jokes about it or something in those days. It could be.
He also had a book, a small book, by Chick Sales about outhouse jokes.
I remember now that you think of it.
Pretty racy stuff, huh? Whiz-bang, wow. How was it in the winter when you had to go to the privy?
Well, I have a cousin that had a fur-lined one.
Fur-lined what?
Well, the seat was fur-lined because that was cold, boy, I'm telling you.
Okay, we're going to take a short break. We're going to be right back, though. We're back. We're talking with Marie Earle about... You know, it really wasn't so long ago that a lot of inventions came in. I remember My mother had one of the old-fashioned washing machines where you took the clothes out of the washer and put them through the wringer, and then they'd go into one tub of lukewarm water, and then you would put them through another wringer and go into a tub of cooler water, all of those things.
Well, before we had that, we used to sometimes have a wringer. It would be between the two tubs. But before that, you know, you'd wash them on the washboard, then you'd put them in a boiler, and you'd put a lot of soap in that boiler, and it was white clothes you boil. Boy, were they sanitary. And you'd boil them, and then you'd take them out on the end of a piece of a broom handle or something, and you'd hold them up this way and let them dangle, you know. Then you'd put them over in a tub of cold water. Then you'd wring them from that cold water into blue water, and then you'd hang them out.
Yeah, all of that work.
Oh, it was really something. And then when it came to ironing, you had those sad irons, you know. They were all iron. You had, like, people have pot holders on the top, and you'd have them on the back of the stove, and you'd iron all day long. Everything. Socks were ironed. I don't hardly have an iron in my hands anymore.
Yeah, isn't that nice?